If you think you've heard the worst prison stories, you haven't. Hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear was never supposed to leave that unit. And tell me, how long do you think you could survive in a space no bigger than a bathroom, with no way out? The call came in just before dawn. Unresponsive inmates. SHU, cell B12. Detective Ryan Cole didn't like the sound of that. Unresponsive wasn't the word they used when something was routine. It was the word they used when something didn't add up. By the time Cole arrived at the facility, the sky was still gray, the air cold and heavy with that sterile silence prisons seemed to trap inside their walls. The secure housing unit SHU sat isolated from the rest of the prison, a separate block of concrete and steel designed for one purpose: control. Inside, everything felt tighter, narrower. The walls seemed to close in the deeper you went. No noise except the distant hum of fluorescent lights and the occasional metallic echo of a door locking somewhere far down the corridor. 80 square feet. That's all each inmate got. 80 square feet to live, to think, to break. Detective? A corrections officer nodded as Cole stepped through the final security gate. What have we got? Cole asked. The officer hesitated. That's the thing. We're not sure. Cole raised an eyebrow. You called me for an inmate who stopped responding. The officer shook his head. No, we called you because he wasn't supposed to be able to stop responding. That was new. Cole followed him down the corridor, past rows of solid steel doors. No windows, just narrow food slots and small reinforced glass panels, each door identical, each cell sealed. They stopped at B12. The door was already open. Cole stepped inside, and immediately, something felt off. The inmate sat on the edge of the bed, back straight, eyes open, staring at the door, at Cole. At the wall. Name? Cole asked quietly. Evan Mercer, the officer replied. Been in SHU for 9 months. Cole studied him. Why's he here? Assault. Multiple incidents. High-risk classification. Cole stepped closer. Mercer? He said. No response. He waved a hand in front of Mercer's face. Nothing. But Mercer wasn't unconscious. His eyes were tracking, subtly, almost like he was following something that wasn't there. What happened before this? Cole asked. The officer shifted uncomfortably. That's where it gets strange. Cole turned. Try me. Last night, during routine checks, Mercer requested to speak to someone. About what? The officer swallowed. He said he figured it out. Cole frowned. Figured what out? The officer shook his head. He wouldn't say, just kept repeating it. Cole looked back at Mercer, still staring, still tracking something invisible. Anyone talk to him? Cole asked. Yeah, Sergeant Lewis went in. Cole's head turned sharply. Went in? Protocol breach, the officer admitted. But Mercer was calm, cooperative, said it was urgent. Where's Lewis now? Cole asked. The officer didn't answer immediately, and that was all Cole needed to know. Show me. They moved quickly now, deeper into the unit. The air felt heavier with every step. Lewis's station was empty. His radio sat on the desk, still on, still transmitting low static. Cole picked it up. Lewis? He said. Nothing. Then a faint sound. Not from the corridor. From the radio. Voice. He's not alone in there. Cole froze. Lewis? He said again. Static. Then, the walls. They're not just walls. The signal cut. The officer beside him looked pale. Now, that's not possible. Radios don't pick up from inside cells. Cole didn't respond. Because? He was already moving. Back to B12. Faster this time. When they reached the cell, Mercer hadn't moved. Same position. Same blank stare. But something was different. The wall. Cole stepped closer. At first, it looked like nothing, just concrete. Then he saw it. Scratches. Hundreds of them. Fine. Layered. Overlapping. Not random patterns. Cole leaned in, tracing the lines with his eyes. Words. Carved so lightly they almost disappeared into the surface. Not alone. Watching. Learning. His pulse slowed. Focused. How long has this been here? he asked. The officer shook his head. We checked these cells daily. That wasn't there yesterday. Cole stepped back. That wasn't possible. Then he noticed something else. A small section of the wall, different, smoother. Almost like it had been replaced. Get maintenance down here, Cole said. Minutes later, a technician arrived, tools in hand. Carefully, they began to remove the panel. The room fell, silent, every second stretching tighter. The panel came loose with a soft crack, and behind it wasn't concrete. It was hollow, a narrow cavity hidden inside the wall. Cole stepped forward slowly. Flashlight, he said. The beam cut through the darkness and landed on something that made his chest tighten. A second set of markings, not scratched, written, clean, precise, recent. Cole leaned closer and read the words out loud. He figured it out too late. The officer stepped back. Who wrote that? Cole didn't answer, because as he turned back toward Mercer for the first time, Mercer's eyes moved, slowly, locking onto Cole, and then Mercer smiled, a calm, knowing smile, and whispered, just loud enough to hear, "You're next." And that's when Detective Ryan Cole realized this wasn't just a cell. It was something far worse. The smile didn't fade. It stayed there, calm, deliberate, almost patient, as if Evan Mercer had been waiting for that exact moment. Detective Ryan Cole felt it immediately. Not fear, not yet. Something sharper, the kind of instinct that told you the rules you thought you understood no longer applied. You're next. The words replayed in his head as he stepped back out of cell B12. Seal this unit, Cole ordered. No one in, no one out. The corrections officer nodded quickly, already reaching for his radio. Cole turned to Mercer one last time. The man had returned to staring at the wall. As if nothing had happened. That's not shock, Cole muttered. What is it? The officer asked. Cole didn't answer, because he didn't have one. Instead, he moved fast back to the control room. If something was happening inside that cell, it wasn't just physical. It was procedural, structural, something that shouldn't have slipped through unnoticed. And yet, it had. The SHU control room overlooked nothing. No windows, just screens, rows of them, every cell, every angle, every second recorded. Pull B12 footage, Cole said as he stepped inside. A technician hesitated. From when? Everything, Cole replied. Last 48 hours. The footage began to roll. Mercer in his cell, sitting, standing, pacing. Nothing unusual, nothing violent, nothing that justified the look in his eyes. Fast forward, Cole said. Hours blurred into minutes. Then the technician paused. There, she said. Cole leaned in. Time stamp. 2:13 a.m. Mercer was asleep, or at least, lying still. Then his eyes opened. Not slowly, naturally, instantly, and he sat up. No hesitation, no confusion. He turned his head toward the wall. The same wall. And then he spoke. But there was no audio. Enhance, Cole said. The technician zoomed in. Mercer's lips moved slowly, deliberately, repeating something over and over again. Cole watched carefully. What is he saying? The officer asked. Cole didn't answer immediately, because what he saw didn't make sense. He's not talking, Cole said quietly. What do you mean? Cole stepped closer to the screen. He's reading. The room went still. Reading what? The technician asked. Cole pointed at the wall, but in the footage there were no markings. The wall was clean, smooth, empty. That's impossible, the officer said. We just saw. I know what we saw. Cole cut in. The footage resumed. Mercer stood, walked to the wall, placed his hand against it. Then something happened, subtle, but real. The wall shifted. Not outward, not visibly, but enough, like pressure from the other side. The technician leaned forward. Did you see that? Cole nodded slowly. Play it again. They replayed it, frame by frame. This time they all saw it. A slight indentation, a response from behind the wall. Something's in there, the officer whispered. Cole shook his head. No, he said. A pause. Something was in there. The room fell silent again. Check the cavity, Cole said. Every inch of it. Maintenance. Teams moved fast. The wall in B12 was open. Further inspected scan nothing no tools no devices no hidden. Compartments beyond the cavity. They'd already found empty, completely empty. That's not possible, the technician said. Something caused that movement. Cole's mind was racing. He turned back to the footage. Go forward, he said. The video continued. Mercer stepped back from the wall, returned to his bed, sat down, and then he smiled. The same smile. The one Cole had seen in real time. Then the camera glitched. For less than a second. Static. When the image returned, Mercer was still there, but something was off. Cole leaned closer. Pause. The frame froze. Zoom in on his eyes. The technician complied. The room went dead quiet, because Mercer's eyes weren't focused on the wall anymore. They were focused on the camera, on them, watching. That's not possible, the officer whispered. He shouldn't even know where that camera is. Cole didn't respond, because something worse had just hit him. Go back, he said, to before the glitch. They rewound the footage, frame by frame, until right before the static. Mercer was still smiling, still facing the wall. Then the glitch, then the shift. Cole's voice dropped. Run both frames side by side. The technician did. Before, after. The difference was subtle, almost invisible. But it was there. His posture, slightly different. His expression, sharper, colder. That's not the same moment, Cole said. What do you mean? Monroe asked. Cole didn't take his eyes off the screen. I mean, that's not the same. Mercer. Silence. Then a loud metallic bang echoed through the SHU corridor. Everyone jumped. Another bang. Closer. Cell breach? The officer said, grabbing his radio. No. Alarms, the technician replied. That was worse. Cole was already moving back into the corridor. The sound came again, from deeper inside the unit. Rhythmic, controlled, like something knocking. They followed it, cell by cell, door by door, until they reached B14. The sound stopped. Cole stepped closer. Open it. The officer hesitated. Sir, protocol, open it. The door unlocked. Slowly, Cole stepped inside. The cell was empty, but the wall had the same markings, same patterns, same words. Not alone. Watch learning. Cole's chest heightened. That's not possible, the officer whispered. We just found this in B12. Cole stepped closer, examining the scratches, fresh, identical. Then he saw something new, a final line, deeper than the rest, clear, deliberate. He read it aloud. To now. The officer's voice trembled. To what? Cole didn't answer, because at that exact moment the lights flickered, hard, and every cell door in the SHU unlocked at once. The sound wasn't loud. That was what made it worse. No alarms, no sirens, just a series of soft, synchronized clicks, echoing down the corridor like a line of dominoes falling in slow motion. Every door in the SHU had unlocked. For a split second, no one moved. Then Monroe grabbed Cole's arm. We need to get out, now. But Cole didn't step back. He stepped forward. Because something about the silence didn't feel like chaos. It felt controlled. Stay behind me, he said. They moved cautiously down the corridor, passing rows of open doors. Cells that had once been sealed tight now stood exposed, empty, waiting, or watching. Where are they? The officer whispered. Cole's eyes scanned every corner. Not running, he said. That's the first problem. No footsteps, no shouting, no sign of a breakout, just stillness. Then a voice, detective. It came from behind them. They turned. Evan Mercer stood in the middle of the corridor, calm, unrestrained. How did you? Monroe started. Mercer raised a hand slightly. Not aggressive, just enough to stop her. You opened it, he said, his tone almost conversational. You just didn't realize when. Cole stepped forward. You were never alone in that cell, were you? Mercer's smile returned. No one in here ever is. A pause. You think this place isolates people, Mercer continued. But it connects them. Cole frowned. Through what? Mercer tilted his head slightly. Patterns, sound, time, repetition. You'd be surprised how much information passes through 80 square feet when no one's watching the right thing. That wall, Cole said. There was someone behind it. Mercer shook his head slowly. No, he said. There was someone like me behind it. The words hung in the air and Rowe stepped forward. Another inmate? Mercer's eyes shifted to her. For a while, he said. Cole's mind snapped into place. Lewis, he said. The missing sergeant. Mercer didn't deny it. He came in to listen, Mercer said. Thought he was in control. Thought he could figure it out. Cole's voice hardened. What did you do to him? Mercer's expression didn't change. I showed him, he said. A cold silence followed. Showed him what? Monroe asked. Mercer glanced at the walls. How? To move without moving, he said quietly. Cole felt the weight of that sentence settle in. Two now, he muttered. Mercer nodded once, and, counting, a sudden noise echoed from the far end of the corridor. Footsteps. Slow measured. Another figure appeared in the dim blue light. Sergeant Lewis. Alive. But wrong. His posture stiff. His eyes unfocused but alert in a way that didn't feel natural. He stopped beside Mercer. Didn't speak. Didn't react. Just stood. Monroe's voice shook slightly. What did you do to him? Mercer didn't look at her. I didn't do anything, he said. He learned. Cole's heart pounded. This isn't learning, he said. This is control. Mercer smiled faintly. Same thing, he replied. The lights flickered again. But this time, they didn't stabilize immediately. The corridor dimmed. Shadows stretching longer, deeper, and then a third sound. Another door, opening. Cole turned sharply. Cell B15. Another figure stepped out. An inmate. Then another, and another. Each one calm. Silent. Focus. No panic. No aggression. Just movement. Coordinated. Monroe stepped back. This isn't a breakout. Cole finished it. It's a transfer. Mercer nodded slightly. You finally understand. Cole's voice tightened. Understand what? Mercer took a slow step forward. That isolation doesn't break people, he said. It rewires them. Another step. And when you put enough of them together, the inmates behind him shifted. Subtle. In sync. You don't get chaos, Mercer said. A pause. You get order. Cole's hand hovered near his weapon, but he didn't draw it, because something told him this wasn't a fight he could win. What do you want? Cole asked. Mercer stopped a few feet away. Nothing, he said. Then he looked past Cole, toward the open corridor. We're leaving. Rowe stepped forward. You're not walking out of here. Mercer's eyes returned to her, calm, certain. We already have. Cole turned, and that's when he saw it. The far security gate. Open. Not forced. Not damaged. Unlocked. Who opened that? Monroe whispered. No one answered. Because they all knew. It hadn't been a person. It had been a system. One that had been watching, learning. Mercer stepped past. Cole. Lewis followed. Then the others. One by one. No rush. No resistance. Just a quiet, unstoppable flow. Cole stood there, frozen between instinct and realization. Stop them, Monroe said. But Cole didn't move, because, in that moment, he understood something worse than escape. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Mercer reached the gate, paused, then turned back one last time. You came here to investigate a man, he said. A faint smile. But you're leaving with the system? Then he walked out into the night. The corridor fell silent again. Doors open. Cells empty. Cole stood there, staring at the space they had just left behind. Then a soft scratching sound. He turned slowly, back to B12. The wall. fresh markings appear in front of him. He stepped closer, watched as the final words carved themselves into the surface. Slow, deliberate, still. Learning, Cole took a step back, because for the first time since he arrived, he realized the truth. They hadn't escaped the SHU. The SHU had escaped with them. If you think the story was intense, you're not ready for the next one.